knew she would be there, Amanda. And I can't say that it's solely because of the tip, because the tip was not from a source. The tip was an email, which we all know. And if you're a newer listener, when a source sends me something, I write that because to me, it means it's somebody I trust. It's somebody that has given me a substantial amount of correct information. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers? Before we get into this week's tea, Amanda and I would like to take a moment to send our love and our well wishes to everyone affected by Hurricane Ian. I know many cocktailers and, their friends, their family themselves were affected. My own friends and family, I have some on the West Coast. Thank God they're all safe, but it was certainly very scary. And I know many of you are dealing with the after effects, and we're just sending you guys a lot of love.
We are thinking about you guys and hope that everybody is just doing okay and that recovery efforts are going faster than expected, and just know we're thinking about you guys.
Absolutely. And now, since a lot of us need to take our mind off real troubles and talk about nonsense, let's get into it, Amanda.
Okay, cocktailers. So B and I have been getting a ton. And when I say a ton, I know I say a ton a lot, but this week there is a lot happening with OC. So I feel like let's start there. And we have even some stuff that we won't be sharing anywhere else. We're going to save that for last. But let's start out with David Beador getting divorced.
I mean, we said last week that although Leslie, who's, David's second wife, posted that he had unfiled the documents, we knew they weren't unfiled because one of our trusty cocktailers sent us the court records. Well, this week, she posted that she filed. It's giving me, you can't fire me, I quit vibes, Amanda.
I mean, that whole thing was so ridiculous to me because it's not David was like, oh, shoot, oops, I accidentally filed for divorce, which is sort of what his social media what he kind of tried to say is like, no, we're not getting divorced. So I think those of us who have been following it kind of knew better, and we're not all that surprised when sure enough, oh wait, we are. She just apparently wanted to make it look like she was the one doing it. So strange.
She's a strange lady. I mean, and Amanda sent me the Walmart video, which I reposted, and it is so cringe. Oh, so obnoxious.
Was watching that again, and I was like, geez. And that it was in 2019, so before COVID, and she's just verbally abusing that woman. And then she's like, I live in a $15 million mansion in Laguna.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm even shopping here. And I'm like, you are a piece of work, lady.
And maybe we know why she was shopping there, because we got a pretty funny email.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I won't say funny because it's not funny, but
it's not funny.
What the email says is word on the OC streets is that DB never took to her other two children and had issues financially providing for them compared to the daughter they share, having no problem buying her lavish things. I mean, on OC, I distinctly remember Shannon saying that she wasn't expecting any help. I think in the divorce agreement, it was written in that the oldest daughter, who is currently in college, they're splitting it or they're both paying. But she was saying that her business has to be successful because she's not expecting any help for the twins from him for college. So if he doesn't want to pay for his children's college, which again, according to Shannon, I would imagine he's not coughing up money for her two kids. Which, as a mom myself, and I mean, I don't know Leslie. Everything I've seen of her, she doesn't seem like my cup of tea. But I mean, any mother would have a problem with that, and good for her for, saying we have to treat our kids the same. And my thing with that is, why does one have to get lavish things? Like, one kid should wear Burberry and the other two Walmart. Like, can we all just wear Target and Old Navy and like have it be equal?
Maybe that's what she was shopping for in the video when she was freaking out, is the other two kids that David won't pay for. I mean, I think that's kind of the lowest of the low on his part. If you marry a woman with kids, you marry the kids too. Like, there is no getting around that. If you marry a woman with kids, like, those kids are going to be in your life day in, day out. And so to treat them differently than your own child is just gross. It's so like Wicked Stepmother and Cinderella. But again, not all that surprised, because he just doesn't seem like the most stand-up of guys. But then we get that picture from one of the cocktailers of Shannon and Tamra out to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly later, we get the one with Vicky with them. So B, I know you were tipped off that Vicky would be filming, and everybody was calling BS. Even Tamra and even Andy Cohen, but you totally called it.
And I have to say, I mean, the biggest victory for us, I'm sorry if I sound like it's only me, because that is definitely us, because that is our website, but when Scottsdale's announced at BravoCon, and kind of interesting that Salt Lake City, the week before BravoCon, they're going to Scottsdale. So things that make you go, in the interest of staying on topic.
If they go to Winnetka too, then we know.
I may like burst right there in the audience. I fucking knew it. Told you. I'm kidding.
Amazing.
So, okay. But we're talking about Vicky. So, I mean, I knew she would be there, Amanda. And I can't say that it's solely because of the tip, because the tip was not from a source. The tip was an email, which we all know. And if you're a newer listener, when a source sends me something, I write that because to me, it means it's somebody I trust. It's somebody that has given me a substantial amount of correct information. It doesn't mean that it's foolproof, but it's pretty solid. When I get an email, the degree to which I believe it varies based on a number of things. I sometimes know who the email is from, so that may make it, more likely to be true. In any event,
some people put their real email addresses in there, which is great, because then we can follow back up with them and ask them other questions and that kind of thing.
But in my gut, I just knew that Tamra and Shannon together, it was inevitable for Vicky to come back. And I do think, and I've said many times, I think that Tamra is a girl's girl. And I do think that there was a part of Tamra that wanted it for herself because Vicky is a safe space for her on the show, but also wanted it for Vicky because, Vicky is the OG and they're friends. So I say all that to say, to me, it was inevitable. Everyone was so surprised. And I was like, I am not surprised. Why is anyone surprised? She was on the girls' trip. She's in play. She's in the deck. They could whip her out at any time. And we know that OC is on a mission to get that old magic back, and love her or hate her, Victoria, as our friend Larry calls her, she brings that old school magic, and I also knew that Tamra would want to be in on the David Leslie divorce storyline, because we all know that it's going to be a big storyline. It's going to be a focal point. And we know that Housewives want camera time. So, but I don't know. And I don't know if you saw this, but, oh God, Jim and the one in Italy getting married. God help us. But Shannon liked a picture that Jim posted of their wedding. Not cool.
That was, I don't know, that one threw me. That's odd. I even wonder if she just did it accidentally as a mistake, because it doesn't make sense. And she's been the first wife before. I don't know.
Well, let's be fair. Meghan was the third wife, but I get but I mean, even if you don't love Meghan, like, your loyalty should lie with her. Listen, My loyalty always lies with the woman. So whether I like the woman or not, if the guy's clearly an asshole, my loyalty's going to lie with the woman.
Yeah, I totally agree. And honestly, I'm not shocked that Vicky was back and filming. She does call it her show. So I didn't think she could stay away for very long, especially not with Uno and Dos of the Tres Amigas. I just think there's the producers, they know, like the producers, they're not dumb. And they know there are a ton of fans who want to see the Trace together again.
And I do think that she just like pops in. I don't think she's full time in any capacity, but she's filming, and everybody and their brother said she wasn't. So, booyah. Yeah. Also, we knew it. Also, those exclusive photos that were sent to me. So the wedding is happening, and in real time, I get like live footage of Jim and Courtney's wedding. They had about 30, if that, wedding guests, and somehow we got it sent over. I found it funny. You have your nearest and dearest, and yet they sent it to us, which makes me believe. Side note, Courtney used to follow me and like message me like, you shouldn't post and all this. And I never share DMs, and I never have shared hers. But I say that to say, I was like, stop messaging me. Like, I don't have any reason not to post your stuff, and bye. And then she blocked me. So worth noting, none of his kids were there. He didn't even ask Meghan to get a passport for the younger two. So, and I'm not an attorney, right? We know that. I know that you need both parents there. In this case, I think she has custodial guardianship, so she would have needed to be, whatever it is.
Yeah, you either have, because I just went through this a couple of years ago, with either both parents have to be there, or one has to sign like an affidavit,
right,
giving the other permission to get them a passport. If he didn't even ask Meghan to do it, again, not a shocker.
No, not a shocker.
But yeah, the first thing I noticed about that picture, because there were not that many chairs set up, but like half of them were empty.
Oh my God, you're right.
So I don't know. It just shocker. And wait, okay. What were you saying over text about his suit? Is that the same suit that he wore when he got married to Meghan?
A very reliable source told me it was.
He has a wedding in Italy and doesn't get a new freaking suit?
Tight on money and tight in that suit.
Oh my gosh. Like,
I mean, to be fair, it was at, I think it was Lake Como and Villa d'Este or whatever. It was dream wedding. Yeah. I mean, okay, nightmare groom, but dream wedding. I mean, is it worth it to marry a beast if you get to get married at one of the most beautiful places in the world? I guess no, right?
I mean, maybe he got like, maybe he had his head or something and he's now like a really nice person, but like, I'm not holding my breath about that one.
Yeah. Nope.
Wait, hold on a second. If his kids weren't there, didn't we say last week, didn't you say the nanny was there?
Yes. That's what they said. I don't get it. Well, he has the older one who went to her friend's wedding, and then he has a couple of other with second wife. But I don't think somebody told me none of the kids were there. Maybe one of the kids, but even those kids would be older. I don't know why they would need a nanny. Like, they would be like preteens or teens. So maybe he needed a feet filler. That's a lot of empty seats, Amanda. He should have invited. Listen, you and I would have flown out to Lake Como. I would have even pretended to like them.
I would for sure get a blowout and put on a gown and sit there very quietly and not heckle.
I mean, I'm a professional. I could fake the funk. maybe not after like 15 glasses of Prosecco, which is what we would have probably drank.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Like, you're supposed to be seat fillers and you guys are jumping into Lake Como in your gowns.
And then, I mean, in true thirsty Meghan fashion, there she is posting pictures at some iHeart Radio event with Mike Johnson, who I don't watch The Bachelor. That's like the one react. Do you watch The Bachelor?
You know, I used to. I got to the point where I just can't do it. I have some funny stories. Maybe we'll save that for of run-ins and interactions with people from The Bachelor.
Ooh.
That I will have. Maybe I'll save that for bonus content for the membership site. But we used to have a friend of mine used to go all out and have these huge parties for The Bachelor, and we would bet and money and all of this kind of stuff. And I think kind of during COVID, and then I just would watch it and I was like, oh, I can't, like it. I think it got too formulaic and too much, or
Too fake.
I matured, which I think it's probably more I don't think I really matured that much. So anyway.
See, I never get down with it because I am not the sort of gal that is going to compete with a bevy of other beauties for one guy. I did, however, watch the first season of Bachelorette with Trista, and she married that like beautiful firefighter. That I watched because that I can get down with. I can get down with a beautiful lady and a bunch of men vying for her. But I did watch the like Flavor of Love and Rock of Love. Oh, side note, I've met Flavor Flav. I'll just leave it at that. That's going to be a fun story that story gets a little personal, so I need to always say, share that with our top cocktailers. But anyway, back here we go again.
Hold on. I have something else funny to say. It is so I'm like trying to not laugh when you are saying what you were saying, because I refused to watch the first season of The Bachelor because I thought it was sexist. And this is, when I was in my 20s.
Rah, rah, rah.
I was like, that's such bullshit. But then once they started to do The Bachelorette, I watched that too. So, and we have not had that conversation. So I think it's so funny.
Guys,
similar.
We have so many adjacents. We both studied in Florence.
Yeah.
When we have the subscriber site, we will discuss all the funny adjacents because and by the way, Amanda, I want all of the cocktailers to know Amanda is hard at work on this membership site. It is going to be on bravoandcocktails.com. So please stay tuned. We're rolling that out before the holidays because that's like a great gift. Like I would like that because my husband never knows what to get me. And I know you're like this too. And I know so many of our female cocktailers are like this, where we work hard and we just buy ourselves what we want and need.
True.
So what do you get the woman who has everything? A subscription to Bravo and Cocktails, obviously.
And the time and space to go enjoy it.
Oh, yes.
Yes, exactly. Like that is the ultimate Christmas gift. It's so funny that you say that too, because one of my friends will go and shop for herself for Christmas, and then she literally wraps everything and puts it under the tree. And I was talking to another friend of mine. I'm just going to tell this story really quick. About my birthday, which was a few weeks ago, and my friend was like, "Oh, what did your husband get you?" And I was like, "Well, I really wanted a Lizzo shirt, and it's like with like her logo. I had shown the kids. I was like, this is what I want for my birthday. Like,
make it happen.
Diamonds, whatever." Oh my God! When you maybe we'll post it. I will post it on the day that this comes out. If you see the shirt that I got, I was like, what the fuck were you thinking? I'm like, I can't wear this out of the house. Like, I love Lizzo. I love everything she stands for.
Tell me it says something with pussy.
No, it is an illustration of Lizzo in a thong. So funny. But like, I'm like, I can't, I wanted to wear this like maybe under a blazer or like some joggers.
Like if you're going out for cocktails with your girlfriends.
Soccer practice.
Right.
Yeah, or to pick up. I'm like, I can't wear this out of the house. We'll post it the day that this comes out, and you guys can all have this laugh. And so anyway, I was having that conversation. I'm like, I'm just going to start just shopping for myself and wrapping it for my birthday and for all of the holidays.
But honestly, I love that. And I also love experience gifts. Like last year, my husband and I got each other a Peloton because we were like, you know what? We both will use it. And that's a great gift. So I like when he gets me, like he'll always get like nail salon or like massage, like stuff that I'm going to use that he knows I like. But anyway, we say all that to say a subscription to bravoandcocktails.com is going to make a great holiday gift.
You gotta love our
Tell your husbands they can't get that one wrong. There's like no mistaking it. There's only going to be one option.
That's true. It's so true.
It's true.
Okay, so I did used to watch The Bachelor, and I do know who Mike Johnson is, and he is very, very good looking. So I say, Megan, enjoy. Okay, so more OC stuff. We are really tangenting today, and
Woo!
I love every minute of it. Okay. We have so much OC stuff, though. So we also got that email about Teddy coming to OC. So curious if you think it's going to be this season or next. I think it really could kind of go either way because she has that close relationship with Tamra.
Okay, so, and Amanda, keep your excitement at a minimum. I like the idea. I like the idea of Teddy coming to OC. I know that I didn't love her on Beverly Hills, but I have to say that I, as a Housewives fan, have evolved because I recognize more now than I did in the past that just because I wouldn't want to have someone over and hang with them doesn't mean that they shouldn't be on a show. And I also don't really think she meshed in Beverly Hills. Like, she never really fit for me. It always seemed like she was kind of like trying too hard. But now in the OC, first of all, her and Tamara have developed like a real deal friendship. They have a business together. It's kind of like me and you. I mean, we're obviously cooler, but like, so I can see her, and I can also see her meshing in that OC environment, right? So, I mean, I like now. Okay, you said this season or next season. I mean, let's see. They popped Vicky in. I don't see why she couldn't pop in this season and then next season maybe have a more friend of or, permanent role. I dig it.
Sorry, I was like just kind of choking on my drink there for a second.
How dare you? Apologize to me.
Because you like Teddy. What is happening in this world?
Wait, name that housewife. Apologize to me. Come
apologize
on.
to me.
It's one of my favorites.
I don't know.
Melissa Gorga, when she points,
Melissa.
and remember they're outside that party and they're both in those like white gypsy dresses and they're like fighting and she's like, apologize to me.
Oh my gosh. I remember that. I don't remember that line, but I remember what was that? A goddess party?
Yes. And they had like the crystals on their foreheads.
Yes, I totally remember. And yes, I remember all of that. I don't know. So Teddy and Tamra, I listened to their podcast and I think they actually they are good friends. I think they have great chemistry. I think it would shake things up. We know Teddy has, from watching on Beverly Hills, we know Teddy has a beach house down in the OC and goes pretty frequently. And I knew, like, she shows it too on her social. Because I follow her on social as well. Because, despite the fact that people like to say that we have to agree on everything, you and I have not always agreed on Teddy, but now all of a sudden you're coming to my side.
No. You like Teddy. I see Teddy's value on the OC. There's a difference.
Oh my God.
No, but I don't mind her on the podcast. I don't know. I think it's like anything else. It's a different, nobody is any one thing, right? So I didn't like her in Beverly Hills because for me, she didn't really click. Even like her and Kyle, I know they have this whole like we're BFFs. I just don't really see it as an authentic thing. I see her as a soldier. Whereas with Tamara, I feel like they're friends. And Teddy is like, she's not trying to be something. She's not trying to be as good as like I don't know. It's like a mutual friendship. Whereas with Kyle, it was just her kissing Kyle's ass and wanting in.
Yeah, I think also she never seems to be that afraid of confrontation. And I think that can be hugely valuable as somebody who kind of helps move the show along. So
yes, and that's a good point.
So, okay, so more OC stuff. What about some other rumors that we've been hearing about the Dubrows?
I mean, like I know that we've received a lot of emails about it. We're careful to post certain things because, I don't know. Guys, these are all rumors, okay? We've seen it posted elsewhere. We've seen it on other accounts. We've seen it on other blogs. We've received stuff. Anybody can say anything. I know of nothing. I have never seen a picture. I have never seen any receipts, is my point. Right. So I want to put that out there. This is as far as me, Bravo and Cocktails is aware, as far as Amanda is aware, these are rumors that may have been manufactured. With that said, whether or not, and here we go back to the Kathy Hilton thing, whether or not they're real or they're rumor, I'm hearing we're going to expect to see cease and desist. I'm also hearing claims that Vicky started the rumors. So if it's true, because we're hearing that Heather isn't filming, it could be why Vicky is there in the first place. Maybe Heather was supposed to be the bridge for Shannon and Tamra. I don't know. We also weren't hearing much about Taylor, but this week, actually, I think today or yesterday, we got an email that she's very much in the mix about these Dubrow rumors. Apparently, what the email alluded to was that Taylor brought to light from one of her friends, right? So this is one of, I didn't see it, my friend saw it, which stuff like that is always suspect, but what we do here is we air the tea. So one of my friends spotted a housewife's husband with somebody in a private environment. The housewife feels like Taylor is setting her up and trying to ruin her reputation. But Tamra actually said that she heard the same rumor from a friend. So Taylor heard from a friend and Tamra heard from a friend. And what this email is saying is Vicky's the friend. Now, when I posted this, what comments did I get? The comments I got were Vicky will do anything to be on the OC, and they don't believe it. Again, possible.
Well, and we know Vicky owned up to trying to manufacture that whole Eddie is gay thing.
Right?
Back a few years ago. So I would not think of Vicky as a credible source.
The same way we don't think of Ren as a credible source, because when you are proven to have manufactured storylines and when everyone knows that you will do anything for the check that comes from the show, people aren't going to believe you, whether it's true or not.
Well, and I mean, part of the reason I'm just questioning whether it's really true is, I mean, I think Terry would be frightened for his life. Heather is like, she is, you don't fuck with her. And so, like, I don't know. I kind of question whether there's any truth to it.
And the thing that I hate about, like, Hollywood the most is there's so much infidelity. I really, though, feel like Heather and Terry are so committed to their family, which doesn't mean that somebody wouldn't, step out. But the rumors are not stepping out. The rumors are like this consistent nurse after nurse kind of thing. It just, I don't know. It would be impossible for him to get away with that. And Heather is not the kind of gal to turn her head. I'm saying gal a lot. I have no idea what that's about, by the way. That's the vibe today.
The lover boy that you're drinking is bringing it out in you.
Lover boy is not a sponsor, by the way, but Amanda hit me up because I'm already on Paige's payroll. I might as well be on yours too.
Okay, so before we close the books on OC for this week, we wanted to save some of the best for last. We've got an email this morning that we're not going to share on the website. We're only going to share it here on the podcast. Do you want to read it?
Yes. Okay, from Long Island Babe. Email longisland@oc.com. Subject, Long Island versus New York. Two housewives are having a vicious feud. Last season, the returning vet took this housewife under her wing. Now they are feuding. I mean, Gina and Heather.
Okay, what could they possibly be feuding about?
I also would like to note that in all of this tea that we've been getting, nowhere are Gina and Emily mentioned. So That's interesting. Are they being phased out? I don't know. What could they be feuding over? I mean, it's housewives, Amanda. Gina could have said to Heather that she doesn't like her new haircut, and Heather could have not liked that. I mean, we know. It could be anything. I see it. I mean.
Or maybe Gina went to Heather to tell her these rumors are going around, and it's a shoot the messenger situation.
Oh, especially if there was a camera there. Like, why the hell are
you that last year too? Remember, like there was. It was a shoot the messenger situation last year.
And we know that Gina loves to be the messenger because she doesn't ever want to deliver a message about her own life or her own storyline. So,
yeah.
Because there's a lot there, by the way. But anyway.
There is a lot there, guys. And then nobody seems to be talking about it, including Gina. Okay, so we're going to close the book on OC and then we're going to move really quickly to Summer House. So it looks like we were spot on with the news, the tea about Danielle and Lindsay from Summer House. Seems like there is some sort of Cold War going on because Danielle has not liked or shared or posted on any of Lindsay's posts. And as we know, Lindsay and Carl got engaged. So there's been a lot of attention on her page.
I have a lot of cocktailers messaging me and asking. So I did want to give an update, which is the update is obviously the source that told me that they were having a feud. And, you know, it's funny. I was told this before the engagement, and they had a couple of sponsorships together that they were posting throughout the season. So we saw pictures of them. And when I heard it, I was like, I don't know. I'm not going to, you know, I try not to post stuff that then ends up not being true, right? I want to wait to feel it out. So the engagement really solidified other information that I had. I mean, and we're going to see this, right? If this is what's happening, which it seems like it is, last I heard, they aren't even speaking. Lindsay actually recently posted, I think it was like a month since they were engaged. She posted all these like really beautiful pictures. And it's not just her and Carl, it's like all their friends who celebrated that day, and no Danielle, no Robert, none of them in the pictures. So they had a falling out. I think that even before we see the show, it's pretty obvious that we were right about that. My pondering is, do they make up before the reunion? It would be to Lindsay's benefit to do so, because Danielle is the only female on that couch who sits there and defends her. I know Amanda is her friend, but she's not going to defend her against Paige and Ciara and Maya. So, is Lindsay able to reel this back in for the reunion, and will it be enough for Danielle to put it aside? I think that's what it comes down to now, because I think ultimately Lindsay comes out of this looking, there's two sides. I'm not saying that Lindsay is the only person wrong. I know what I was told about the feud, which is whatever, but I think Lindsay's going to be the one who comes out looking bad in this. I think that Danielle's a more sympathetic character, like she's in a book. But do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I think too, though, I could totally see Lindsay being like, we're engaged, you know, Carl and I are engaged, like we are the ultimate have each other's back kind of thing. So I guess it sort of depends on how bad the feud is. And I guess we don't know for sure, like whether maybe Lindsay has reached out and Danielle's not interested. Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, because I hope we'll get some info right around when they tape the reunion, which has got to be pretty soon, I'm betting. Or do they do it?
No, it'll be
once the show's been airing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
like, think of Southern Charm. Like, that was filmed a long time ago, but they just a couple weeks ago filmed the reunion. You know, as a general rule, girls who don't have girlfriends, I'm naturally distrustful of. I just find it weird. I mean, I've been with my husband since I'm 20 years old. I never let it affect my friendships to the point of I don't have friends. Like, that's weird.
That is weird. It is weird. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But speaking of things that we were right about,
our favorite topic,
Stassi's podcast came back this Wednesday. So we got an email about this before it was officially announced. You posted, put it on the website, and then gotta say a big thank you to Stassi and Beau, because they mentioned Bravo and Cocktails, and they also mentioned the Cocktails and Gossip podcast on their Patreon pod regarding a blind that was posted, and we think we got some new followers from it. So thanks, guys.
And we had our most downloaded pod to date. So thank you.
Yes,
I unfortunately don't subscribe to Patreon to their pod, but thank you. A lot of you guys messaged me like, "Oh my God, she called you out." Which, by the way, we never named Stassi. So if she thinks the blind's about her, that's her business. I never named her. But Amanda, you and I have said from the beginning of our pod, Stassi is a huge fan base. It seems they'll follow her wherever she goes. My prediction is that she'll be back on TV soon with her own show. Why would network capitalize on her popularity? And honestly, I didn't like Stassi from the beginning, but I liked to watch her. So it's like Andy Cohen says, it's fine to be disliked. It's when people hate to watch you that there's an issue. So I'd probably, against my better judgment, tune in.
I 100%. I've actually always enjoyed Stassi. I don't know, like, that it would be something that I would want to associate myself with in real life because, like, yes, she has a very cutting wit, but she also gives off this very Regina George, like, Mean Girls vibe sometime, which I think is very entertaining to watch when she's telling Sheena to get her a Pinot Grigio. But the drama and the it's my birthday stuff, that always kind of annoyed me. But I always thought she was very interesting to watch.
Well, she thinks she's better than people is what annoyed me about her. Like, she's a beautiful girl and she's funny and whatever, but I'm a very confident person, but there's like a very fine line between being cocky and being confident, and I didn't like her cockiness. Like, slow your roll.
Well, I think so. So I have a mini theory for you. I'm wondering if there is another reason for her doing the podcast on her own. So, she and Bo have the Patreon together and they were kind of running full steam with the brand about them and their baby. But this podcast is just her. So referring back to the blind that she and Bo talked about. So there were never any names named in that blind. If that blind has truth to it, it would make sense that she would be working on building up her solo brand again. I don't know, just a little mini theory for you.
I mean, I guess we'll have to watch what happens.
I guess we will. Okay, so Southern Charm. I'm super sad that it's over. I was just finishing up watching while I was finishing getting ready this morning because it's on so late. I was watching and I'm like, I'm just sad that it's over. I didn't love the final episode, but I'm sad that it's over. I think the reunion looks like it'll be pretty interesting.
Yes. Listen, yeah. I love Southern Charm. I have to say, I'm very disappointed in Leva this season. Currently, she's in the media. She's trying to change the narrative because you'd have to be a fool to realize that you're not getting a great look. Multiple people have told me that, and I have to imagine having a spinoff at your place of business is stressful. But, she wasn't very nice during filming is what I heard. And the thing about it is, I get it. It's at your place of business. And I posted this on the site. A woman shared with me, and, she didn't even ask to be anonymous. She wrote an article. She's a Charleston local. She's actually an attorney and a model. She's got an Instagram presence, and she wrote this article, and she's an acquaintance of Leva's, a friend or acquaintance, like they know each other, right? Not best of friends or anything. So she wrote this article. She interviewed a bunch of her staff, and the article goes to print. She sent me all these text messages. According to this woman, and again, I don't know if texts are doctored on that.
Leva sent the journalist text messages?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, take this down. Why are you doing this? It's bad for my image. So the girl interviewed, and one of the servers at one of her restaurants basically opened up about being a former addict and being in, recovery. And the journalist was like, Leva, this person shared this with me. I didn't ask these questions. This is what they wanted to be written about them. And what's it got to do with your business? He's telling his story, his truth. And she was vicious in these text messages. So again, it's not my phone. They didn't come into my inbox. The picture she sent me, I was like, wow. So I heard that she had a falling out with a lot of the cast. And if you notice, when she left, nobody left with her. Like Naomi and nobody, her quote unquote friends, she left that party alone. Now, the Southern Charm cast rolls, with some loyalty. Why didn't Taylor go with her? Why didn't Naomi go with her? Little odd. Also, Craig asked her to leave the party. She is sitting at a table with his business partners and staff and talking smack about him and the way he runs his business. Can you imagine if somebody went to one of her establishments and spoke to her staff about her in that way?
No, I mean, and that was where I'm like, she came off, I think, very badly. I think it felt like, to me, it was like when we see it happen, right? With the girl who was on Jenny, who was on Salt Lake City, when she has that freak out at the finale party. It's
Yes.
like, I have to do something dramatic to get, some drama going, because she knew, like, she just, I mean, she was totally starting shit, and it was about nothing. There were plenty of chairs. She was just saying, like, Naomi was, I think, miffed that she didn't have a chair at the main table, but there was plenty. I mean, there were a lot of empty chairs. I could see them. I'm sure you could see them.
It was like Jim's
Everybody
wedding.
could see them. Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is, and I don't know if this is common knowledge, but Craig's an investor in some of her establishments as well. I don't know which ones, but at one time he was. I don't know where that stands now, but I thought it was very inappropriate. And
Yeah,
I
totally.
saw yesterday an Us Weekly article, her saying that Craig has changed since being with Paige. Like, girl, we know that you saw the final episode, and we know that you saw Paige say to him, like, Craig, she's over there talking shit about you to your staff and your business partners. So, Paige is the bad person for giving her boyfriend a heads up? Like, what the F? Like, what? Like, you're his friend.
Well, okay. On this whole, like, Craig and Paige thing, I actually thought Paige having that conversation with him on the show and saying, look, like, the right thing to do is to invite Naomi again. She's like, if you don't, then you just look petty. And I was like, Paige is absolutely right. And I'm sure Paige didn't really want Naomi there. Like, I'm sure she actually didn't want her there, but Paige is 100% right. And so,
And the reason that
anyway.
I don't think that Craig is getting that much flack about the Naomi thing is because we all remember that Naomi left the show and she was too good for the show and all of that. And so now Craig's like, wait, now you're back and you're suddenly in this friend group and I like have to deal with this. Like, fuck that. And she was getting preferential treatment because she was hooking up with Whitney. I don't think I get it. And then I did feel bad for Naomi. And I think that ultimately he did the right thing by inviting her, because I think that when he had a minute to sit down and like think about it, and then he spoke with Paige about it, he realized, like, you know what? I got to get over it. She's back and there's nothing like I can do about it. Like, she made a mistake by leaving and acting like she was better then. And I do think that maybe there's a feeling that she didn't eat enough crow about it. Like, nobody else gave her a hard time. Like, Shep or Austin or Catherine, Catherine and her don't get along. Any of the OGs could have said to her, and remember, none of the other OG girls are left, right? So it's going to be a guy saying to a woman, which is a bad look. And Catherine already doesn't like her. Like, maybe maybe Madison could have said to her, but they're friends. Like, Madison could have said to her, like, like you did us all kind of dirty. Like, you treated us like we were nobodies and this show sucked. And yet here you are.
Right. I know. I don't know. On the whole Leva thing, like, again, I'm watching this. I'm like, I cannot believe she's going over and talking shit on the host of a party, period. But then to his business partners, like, at their company party, completely inappropriate. I think Leva also, I just think she really brought nothing this season. I think, think about, she left the one trip early.
Right.
And then she didn't even go on the other one at all. So I'm sure production wasn't super happy with that either. And I just think she just seems like a control freak to me. Like, the fact that she would be like, okay, journalists, come in, and then I don't like what you post, so then I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to text you, and like, just seems like very weird, controlling behavior.
Which is probably why she's such a successful businesswoman, because you have to be a control. Worth noting, the show was originally Leva's World, and now it's Southern Hospitality. So let's see how much she's even on it.
She just doesn't have the same charisma that like Elisa Vanderpump does, where on Vanderpump Rules, you always wanted to see what Lisa had to say. I don't know that I'm going to feel the same way about Leva.
Well, because Lisa was like the matriarch. Like, Leva's, she's a couple years older than them, than some of them. Some of them she's the same. It's like,
yeah.
And like, listen, I love a successful businesswoman, and she certainly has, her and her husband have built a very impressive empire, not taking that away from her by any means.
Right.
But, you know, reality TV, baby, is reality TV, and you're not going to be able to like call the shots and pull all the strings the way you are with people who work for you. Craig does not work for you.
Right.
These people on the cast do not work for you. The staff on your show work for you. Southern Charm cast members don't work for you. It's not going to go, it's not Burger King. You can't have it your way, babe.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. So, such a big week for Bravo fans because we also saw the Salt Lake City premiere. What did you think?
I loved it. I've said it before. I will say it again. I love the setting, the scenery, the hot tubs in the freezing cold, the over-the-top fur coats, the homes. I don't care if they're rented. They're opulent. They're gorgeous. They're, it's terrific. And these women bring the heat. Lisa and Meredith. I mean, Lisa said those things, you know, period. If I'm Meredith, do I ever actually forgive that?
So much to unpack here. First of all, I just have to kind of go back to the beginning of the episode where it shows like Lisa and Meredith and Whitney and Heather, you know, talking about how much they love each other. So Lisa and Meredith talking about how they're best friends, and Whitney and Heather. And then it like juxtaposes,
whatever the word is. They know that we mess our words up.
With those scenes from like later in this season, you know, and like with Lisa saying the stuff that she said, and then with Heather and Whitney actually physically fighting, I thought it was
wild.
I thought it was so good. And honestly, if I'm Meredith, kind of to go back and answer your question, and somebody said that about my family, I don't know if you can come back from that.
I mean, where I'm concerned, you would never come back for that. And I'm not a grudge holder, and I may get mad, but I don't stay mad about nonsense. But what was said, I'm sorry. Absolutely not. And then we got an email, you know, Amanda, as we often do. And the email was saying that the rumors are stemming from someone hiring a private investigator. Now, the email seemed to insinuate that Meredith uncovered all of these rumors via a private investigator. It could be made up. It could be tit for tat. This is what we got in the inbox, and who am I not to share what comes in the inbox?
Well, we know Meredith has done this before, right? She admitted it fully that she hired one when all the stuff was going on with Jen before, and it sounds like it's a pretty good private investigator.
She's got the bucks, so
I want to get that guy's, well, assuming it's a guy or girl, the PI. I'd like to get that PI's information. I feel like it could come in handy.
Who are you investigating?
Well, all of the housewives, because you know me, and I like to go on a rabbit hole.
And you have such a good rabbit hole for us today.
Oh, I do, you guys. But I like, B was texting me last night and about something along the lines with this rabbit hole, and I was like, I need some hints here because my eyes are so tired from the previous rabbit hole that I went down. So anyway, Meredith, if you want to send us your PI's info, I think it would help us with some podcast research here.
Yes.
Angie's house above the city with like the lights twinkling below. I thought that party was absolutely beautiful.
Oh my God.
It showed like a little bit of awkwardness, and she's like, I don't know who most of these people are.
That house, Amanda, incredible. Oh my God. I love it.
What do you think about Jen this season so far?
You know, and we've talked a lot about Jen, and clearly we all know that she is a criminal and what she did was awful, illegal. We know. And somehow I feel bad for her and Coach. And then I remind myself she's not a victim. And, you know, I'm not so sure he is either. And on the show, she's still denying it. So that becomes infuriating. I feel like I go from feeling bad for them, like when they were in the kitchen talking about the party, because they're likable, especially Coach. Like he seems to be such like a pillar of strength and morality when he speaks, and so believable. So then I remember that she came out and said, yes, I did these things. Yes, I took advantage of elderly people and stole money from, you know, the population that was vulnerable. And I find myself saying, the nerve of this woman, like scene to scene. And then she talks about downsizing. Meantime, she's still in this gorgeous 4,500 square foot home.
Right.
And I say all that to say, I say this quote like in my everyday life, there's nothing worse than a smart criminal. Jen is charismatic. She is engaging. She's likable. She's somebody you gravitate to. Like white collar criminals, not killers, not people who kill people, but people who do Ponzi schemes like Tom Girardi, as an example. We love them. People love Bernie Madoff. It's how they get away with it for so long. So it's why we feel, or at least I find myself feeling like she's admitted she did it, but like, damn it, I like watching her. And there is a piece of me that will feel bad when she goes to prison, which is like, I know I'm wrong to feel that way because there are victims here.
Yeah. I mean, people say that Ted Bundy was charismatic too, and he murdered something like 25 people.
Okay,
so,
he's a killer.
Again, we're talking about two different kinds of crimes here. My only point is, like charisma. Some of the biggest criminals have that on their side, and I think you're totally right. That's why they get away with it for so long. So it's funny because as you're talking about that, I'm like, I went actually through the same range of emotions too. So I liked seeing her on the screen again. And then like when she was like, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit scared. I was totally empathizing with that. I'm like, I can only imagine. To then, of course, I'm like straight up just pissed off when she says, looking straight at the camera, I'm innocent. And I'm like, God damn it. Like she does. She keeps kind of reeling us back in.
The other thing that makes me angry when I watch her is when she references her boys, it breaks my heart for them. And then I get mad at her because I'm like, you did this to your boys.
Right.
Like kids don't need things. Yes, children need to live in like a home that is safe and to have food. So kids need things, obviously, but kids don't need 8,000 square foot homes and 15 cars in their driveway. Like kids need their parents and their parents to be there more than they need anything else. And you put yourself in a position where your boys are not going to have you. And then I get myself angry at her again.
Oh, totally. I totally agree. Plus, when Coach had a great career, and was making plenty of money for the family to live very well off of,
right,
on one salary, it's complete selfishness. I totally agree.
And also, she's a very smart, talented woman. I have to believe that she could have earned herself a very nice salary doing something, I don't know, legal.
Right. Totally agree. Okay, so as we're watching it, do you remember how we got that blind about Jen and Meredith essentially being linked to the same dude in New York? And Lisa had also said she's fucked half of New York. And then Meredith's drinking out of the I Love New York coffee, like the cup in her interview. I mean, I thought it was genius. What did you think?
I thought it was funny. I mean, Meredith clearly hangs on to things. Like she made a whole shirt line and hat line of I'm engaging, and like good for you, right. Capitalize in a legal capacity off of it.
Yeah.
But let's face it, okay, this is a very convenient storyline for Meredith. Clearly Lisa is so wrong. But you are not getting away all season with just talking about this one thing and hanging your hat on it. Give us something else. We know you've got it. We know you have a big, interesting family. We want to see it. We want to hear it. And Jen being her new best friend. So, I've read speculation that it's because Jen knows what parts of Lisa's rant were true. And by being in an alliance with Jen, Meredith can assure it does not come out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any sources confirming it. This is simply theories that I've seen circulating. It could just be that Meredith needed someone and Jen worked best for the job of alliance. I mean, let's remember, and I think that we're on season 3. If we go back to season 1, Meredith and Seth were separated. They were dating other people. They've been open about that. So that theory that people are trying to put out there, to me, it's like, it makes sense that Seth and Meredith don't want it discussed on a reality show in depth about what they did while they were separated. Who the hell would? They have 3 children and they're like back together. So like, why would they want that mentioned or talked about? But I don't think it's because Jen knows stuff. I don't believe that Jen and Meredith had the same guy. Somebody said to me, oh, wasn't it Constantine? You know, the American Idol guy? I don't even know where that came. First of all, I hope they both have better taste than that because both of their husbands are better than that. But I mean, people are wild. And when you get some of this, you have to remind yourself that people are frickin' bananas and will come up with crazy ass shit.
Yeah. I mean, something is odd though, and I think all of us are feeling like this. For her to go from, you know, Jen is a criminal to then all of a sudden like team Jen, and then all the way up until the night before Jen went to New York and filed and said, by the way, I'm actually guilty.
Right.
Meredith was posting saying, I believe in innocence until proven guilty. And so something happened. And I don't feel like we really saw what that was in the premiere.
I think it could be a Lisa takedown. Like, I'll be on your team and I will help you take down Lisa.
Yeah. You know what? That makes way more sense to me than Jen having something on her. Cause I mean, face it. I mean, even before Jen went in and said that she was guilty, it was pretty clear that she was going to be doing some jail time. So
yeah, like,
I mean, if you want anybody to have your secrets, somebody who's going to prison for 10 years is probably a good person.
And let's remember, Meredith was very defensive with Jen about like some like online comments about Brooks, which pales in comparison to Lisa's rant. So
yeah, for sure.
It's much more forgivable than.
So what do we think about Heather? What do we think about Whitney? What do we think about like that whole sitch?
I love me some Heather Gay. When she pops over to Whitney's house, the scene with Bobby, Whitney's daughter, and the boys' pros and cons list. I mean, everyone loves Heather, right? To me, she's a cool girl. I think, and this is a bold statement, but I think she's top 5 housewives I would want to hang out with.
I agree. I'm with you on that.
Right? And she always comes back to the church, and with Whitney, they come back to it. I think it's so ingrained in her. We see Whitney and her talk about leaving the religion and all of that. I don't know a whole lot about the Mormon religion. I watched Big Love. I loved it. Did you watch Big Love?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I did. And I mean, I think I've said this on the podcast. I know I've told you, but I am obsessed with like, and I went through this whole like period where I wanted to understand more about the Mormon religious. I find the whole thing so fascinating.
I'm so like that about the mafia.
Yes. Yes.
A cult's a cult, right?
Well, yeah. And I mean, so yes, I watched Big Love. There is this book I think it's John Krakauer, called Under the Banner of Heaven, and it kind of traces the origins of the religion and then why there are so many offshoots of the religion, why there was like bigamy. One of the things that kind of he says in this book is because of Joseph Smith coming out and saying, I'm a prophet, then anybody can kind of be a prophet in that religion, which is why there were so many other offshoots of the religion. And so I don't know. I just think it's super interesting. And, you know, I love a rabbit hole. And I went to go visit a friend of mine who had moved to Salt Lake City. She is not Mormon. Very interesting to see that city. And if you've ever been to Utah, there's Mormon symbolism everywhere. I remember like driving, this was a different trip. I was skiing and I'm like, why are beehives on all the highway signs everywhere? So I looked it up. It's a Mormon symbol for cooperative work in the religion. Anyway, you guys should all read. It's super, super interesting. I think the whole thing is fascinating. The reason I am saying all of that is I think that Whitney leaving the church like that actually really is very significant.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the sense I get watching it.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely reading that book.
You should. It reads like a novel. It reads like a novel. And that's, I think, too, like why Heather was sort of reacting the way that she did. Because I know that Heather feels the same way about the religion, but I don't think Heather is willing to take that step.
Because of her mom, which I totally get.
Right. And and she already feels alienated from her family. And anyway, I thought
It
that that
becomes
was
a
a
part of
cool
who you
moment.
are. Listen, religion's complicated. Whitney, I never cared for her. She's a tryhard. I remember the hard time Lisa gave her and treated her like she didn't belong. But for me, she never really meshed with the ladies. Oh, and Amanda, I don't know, I'm sure you saw it. They were on Watch What Happens Live together. A
Hmm.
follower was at, I want to say, the Gansevoort when they checked in,
Yes.
and they were all friendly on the show, completely ignored each other. They were both standing there at check in, and it was like icy between them. So I found that interesting.
Yeah. I think we got like that email because I remember seeing
Yes.
that come in. So, okay. So, Lisa, all right. So, watching what we could see in the previews, which is, Meredith hired the private investigator and says, "Hey, I was looking at SEC filings and, into everything's, kind of previewing that they're going to be calling Lisa out for her business and calling out for sketchiness." So I got curious, and this is the rabbit hole that I went into. So I decided to start looking into her and into Vita Tequila. So I'll give you the kind of headline. I think there's something not quite genuine. I think I've always kind of felt that about her. She's always had this sort of fake, like I put on a, kind of just fake personality to me. I think this even more now after this rabbit hole. So I decided to go on to the Utah State Business Registry because I'm like, I want to see who's actually listed as the owner of Vita Tequila because she always says, our company, our company, our company. Because we know that Meredith
Crazy.
finds these SEC filings. So I go on there. I even had to get my credit card out and start to pay for some of these records. So long story short, I find that she's had over 10 registered businesses registered under a few different versions of her name. So nothing egregious, but like Lisa Jean Barlow, Lisa J Barlow, so I'm like, that's odd. Like I wouldn't, that's just strange to me, but whatever. Then we also know that of those 10 businesses, about half have been dissolved, which is, I was laughing and I'm looking at this because I'm like, oh, well, now we know why she has so many lawyers. But she and John, who's also listed, there's multiple Vita Tequila registrations. So they have let the business registration lapse a few times, which is interesting
Right.
because if you're going to try to get a loan or have credit or get a lease in your business's name, you have to have what's called a certificate of good standing. And that, like to have that, you have to have a current registration for the business. So, twice since 2006, they had let the registration lapse. And it's not just like something like you have to remember, like they send you emails to
Right.
be like, hey, don't forget, don't forget. So, that I thought was interesting. One of the times that the business registration lapsed was when Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was filming. So in 2019 into 2020. So the other thing I found, I was looking, I'm like, I want to see what her marketing company does because I do marketing. I'm curious, I never thought to like look it up. I knew the name of the company, could not find it by Googling. So as a marketer, that's really odd because if even Googling the name of a company, I literally Googled Lux Marketing, Utah, couldn't find it. So that to me makes me question how much marketing they're really doing. The way I finally found it is I went to her personal website and I think it's like the real lisabarlow.com. And then I clicked on the logo for Lux
Hmm.
marketing on her site. So found a couple other interesting things. I saw that she took PPP money in 2020, which nothing to be ashamed. There's nothing wrong with that. I just
Many
thought it was
people did, right?
interesting. Yeah. But with the whole SEC filing thing, I looked into that. So they use this like microfinancing method, which is like a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter to raise $25,000. Again, nothing wrong with that. However, it stood out to me as a little bit odd if they are as successful and wealthy as she makes it seem on the show.
all very interesting and a lot of new information for me because I was waiting to hear it from you. I told Amanda this. A source reached out to me and assured me that all her businesses are on the up and up. They said that this is normal business practice. The person shared a link and said that I think crowdfunding is probably a name that is better, but let's call it crowdfunding,
Yeah.
has worked with Uber, Airbnb, and in other words, legitimate companies have used the same people that she did for this crowdfunding thing. The argument this person made to me was rich people do this and they like to keep their money in their pockets. I mean, to be honest, I'm not in business. I could have this conversation with my husband. He would probably get it more, but as a layman, I'm like, okay, maybe it's legit. Like when this person was saying it to me, a little something I found interesting, Amanda. I got a message from a follower today that said, my cousin and I went to Total Wine and More today in Houston and asked if they had Vita tequila, and they told me that it was discontinued and pulled from their store. So cocktailers hit the streets. They do not, Vita tequila is not in New York. So I am unable to hit up Total Wine, which happens to, I mean, in a shock to no one, happens to be one of my favorite places on earth. It's like the adult Disney World. Do you have a Total Wine by you?
We do.
I mean,
and
I don't have one in my neighborhood, which I'm kind of happy about because my husband always says, like, you know, we like to support local business and it's a big box retailer. But let me tell you, you know what? When I when I get to go, I'm like, oh, like I actually go with my girlfriends and we like do our little taste tests and it's a good time. But I say all that to say, why is Vita pulled in Houston? Like, what's the story there? It just seems like a lot of weird little coincidences happening.
This is the other thing. So I agree. Rich people, of course, want to keep, but when you're going to do the kind of fundraiser like that, like Airbnb did and like Uber did, you also are generally, and by the way, the founders of Uber and Airbnb were not rich people when they started it. When you do these types of fundraisers for your business, you generally give up equity. So you're generally giving up some of your ownership as part of it. So to give up part of your ownership for $25,000, I just think that sounds interesting. So I didn't find anything egregious or like nothing, like everything seemed like pretty much on the up and up. I could even see that they use like a different company to register some of their businesses under, which is actually a pretty normal practice for privacy reasons. So I thought it was very interesting that there had been so many companies and half of them are no longer. And then a couple of them that are still going, you can't find anything about. It's just odd. It's just, there's some things that just don't.
But Amanda, people who aren't on the up and up don't do reality TV. Oh, wait.
Wait, what? Oops. I don't know. So I'm not saying anything. I'm not really.
You're not saying anything that isn't public knowledge, and we're just compiling it.
Yeah. And I'm not even saying that there was anything that was very suspicious after going through all of that. I'm just saying that it's just making me question. It's making me question things. That's it. So anyway.
I like it. I still need to digest all of it. It's a lot.
Oh my God,
listen, PPP loans,
cut it down.
I have friends with businesses, and I'm sure you do as well. And PPP loans helped pay people's employees throughout the pandemic. So there is no shame in a PPP loan. But, there's a lot of other stuff that who lets their business certification expire?
I mean,
I have an LLC now. BNC Publications, baby. It's a media company. You may have heard of it. But come on. She is a smart, savvy woman, and so is her husband, a smart, savvy guy. So let's get it together here.
Yeah. If any of the cocktailers are interested, I'm happy to share more. I have all the names of all of the companies that have been listed under her name. So anyway, I'm looking forward to this season. I think it's good. I've loved Salt Lake City since it started, and I think it's just going to continue to be one of my favorite Housewives shows. And
I think it's going to make for some very interesting podcast conversations, Amanda.
Yes. love them. And Heather, if you ever want to come on to the podcast and do a tequila tasting with us,
oh my God,
we can make that happen.
I would fangirl so hard.
No. We're going to come to you. We'll come to Park City and we can
get
do
some
it there.
Botox and whatever else you have to offer.
Fuck me up. Do whatever you want at Beauty Lab to me.
Yes. Let's do it. You know what I want to try? I want to try that thing, like a lot of the housewives have done it, where they put it on your belly and it shakes and it's like an ab workout. Yes. I bet Heather has that. Can I?
Yes.
I think I could do that while I drink Prosecco. Why not?
Wait, let's try to do it while we do the podcast. We'll be like, ah!
Oh my God.
It's so funny. I always had said,
if it gives me a 6-pack, I will show myself finally in a bikini.
I mean, let's do it. I have always said, I'm like, I wish there could be a place where it's like I go into the car wash and they do, I get my highlights, I get my haircut, I get my nails, I get my Botox, and it's like all of it all at once.
It's like the only place that would be better than Total Wines.
Maybe they should just be next to each other.
Oh my God. Not even next to each other, in the same place.
Perfect.
Aren't you not supposed to drink when you get Botox because you could bleed?
That is a rumor.
Or is that tattoos? I think that's tattoos.
I think it's true.
It's like anything with needles.
I think because you can bruise, but I conveniently forgot. I got Botox this week, actually.
I got it last week.
Yes, I conveniently forgot about the no drinking part, but then the next day I was doing a Peloton ride with some friends, and I was like, I have to go really slow because I'm not supposed to like break a sweat for 24 hours. That rule I remember.
I remember that rule. Oh, gotta hop off this bike. I can't sweat too much. And also, like, I try not to work out too much because it metabolizes my Botox too quickly. So there's that.
Yeah.
Cocktailers, we love you. We appreciate you. We're sorry for all our tangents. We hope you guys like them. Because, I mean, by now, if you're still tuning in, you must not mind them. I'm still leaning forward and screaming into the microphone, but I am 2 lover boys in. So.
Perfect. I need to catch up. Well, thank you guys so much for another great podcast. And, hopefully, the other thing we forgot to mention is we've been listening to your reviews and we came out a day early. We're going to start coming out on Wednesdays.
Right
now, and we're going to keep trying to hear your feedback. So please do keep those reviews coming.
Can I share your genius idea? The one that,
yes.
Okay. So Amanda had this really great idea. We were brainstorming and a lot of you guys have messaged me and I explained very simply that editors are expensive. So we're trying to figure out a way to come out early without going bankrupt because that wouldn't be good for our families. So I said to Amanda, we got to get it out to them. So she texted me last week. She was like, B, I got it. What we're going to do is we're just going to put up, once we have the subscription site, again, it's coming. We are going to record. We're recording right now and we're just going to throw it up there and they're going to get all the outtakes and in other words, ad free, obviously, but also you'll just get to hear it right away. And if there's stuff that we cut for the main one, if my daughter walks in or one of Amanda's kids walk in and are demanding a snack, you may hear that, but you're going to get it in real time. So when we record it, it's just going to go live. If you guys like that idea, please let us know. Let me know. Yeah. So that would be the fastest way. And this way subscribers get the tea as hot as it can be, which is when we click stop, it'll be uploaded.
Yeah. And so that's part of it, you guys, is we record on Fridays, because that's really the only day we can really both make work. And, we're busy parents. So by the time we get it back, we have to listen. So it just takes a little bit of time. And we wanted to give it, we can always get it up by a certain date, right? So that we have consistency for everybody.
Right.
So anyway, starting, from now on, we're going to be up on Wednesdays. We'll see if we can even shave it off a little bit more if possible, but members will definitely be hearing it
right away.
A little unfiltered and definitely first.
And we don't edit that much out, to be honest. It's more adding the music in and of course the ads, which if you guys don't like the ads, then, Pay $5 a month and you don't have to hear them.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I did tell you guys when we jumped this off back in May that I am tell it like it is. So when you message me and you're like, I'm sick of these ads, I'm like, I got good news. You'll be able to pay for it soon, babe.
Yeah, exactly.
I love you guys. I'm only teasing. So
well, thanks everybody. Have a great
weekend.
A great week. Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Just want to ask you guys a favor, just getting kicked off. So many people have been asking us to do this podcast. So please do subscribe. And if you've subscribed, go to your podcast app and hit those 3 little dots to share with your friends, but only friends who like good tea, because the ones who don't care about tea, then like forget them. And don't forget, find us on Instagram at bravoandcocktails_. And check out the website because some great tea gets put there daily that would get us kicked off of Instagram. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.